We got the next card. I was actually really hoping, especially for this card, after seeing like the route that they were going towards. I really hoped, especially for this one, for the Roadrunner. But yeah, I missed on a couple of supports, and I just wanted to give my thoughts to it. Well, do another part, I guess, because I'm quite excited for Yusei support, of course. But I think first we will go over quickly just like this card, like these two cards, because in my like previous video I mentioned how the support felt a bit incomplete. And well, guess what? I was kinda right. Well, we didn't get the Junk Synchron Extreme, but that's actually fine, because instead of the Junk Synchron Extreme, we got the Scrap Synchron. And in a way, it kinda works like a Junk Synchron Extreme. Well, it's kind of pseudo Junk Synchron Extreme. What it does is it just substitutes itself for any Synchron monster, so you can use it as example for like a Road Warrior, pretty much as like a pretty much like Quick Draw, but this card is a little bit better. Besides using it for Warrior Synchro monsters, you can still use it also for other Synchro summons, which is amazing. It's more important that you can use it for like the Warrior Synchro monster. And with that, I mentioned the one, Road Warrior. Road Warrior is, I think, in my opinion, like probably till this day one of the most like viable like Warrior Synchro monster when it comes to like his effect, right? To be able to special something out of your deck, like a warrior or like a machine from level 2 or lower, if I remember the effect correctly, is pretty insane. But also very important is just that this card can be used for like a warrior synchro monster, like a summon, or rather like a monster, like synchro monster that mentions a synchron card as its material, like a synchron tuner. You can use it from your hand for the synchro summon of that monster. With that, we don't even have to summon it out, so we don't even really have to worry about like getting it out on the field. We can just use it from our hand. And the last effect is pretty much like a protection effect by banishing it. So yeah, it's a pretty neat card. At the start when I read it, it seemed not that good, but the more you think about what this card can actually do, it is actually pretty good. But with the next card, it's gonna become even better, and that is Scrap Warrior. They actually made the new Synchro Warrior monster, which is really cool. And it specifically needs Scrap Synchron. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can add to your hand or send it to the graveyard, like either like a Junk Synchron or a card that mentions like a Junk Warrior in its name. With this card, we have pretty much access to all of our like cards that mention Junk Warrior and Junk Synchron. You have to also think about that technically we have always access to this card because it's in our extra deck. The second effect doesn't seem as important at the start, but actually it's better than you think, because it pretty much prevents that the activated effects of like monster dimension like Junk Warrior or Synchro Warrior monster get like the activated effects of them get negated. Your opponent can really hold off, like as example your next couple of plays, like as example like Anchor Bolt Headshock, or like a Full Speed Warrior, or the Crossroad Runner that we got now, and we will get to that card later. It is a little bit of a shame, obviously, that it doesn't like include as example the Junk cards too, as example like Junk Destroyer, and most importantly Junk Speeder. I think the most important part probably was for majority of people that the Junk Speeder doesn't get negated, but I feel like it will be a bit too much, you know. The card is already more than good enough than it is, and on top of it, that this card would prevent Junk Speeder from getting negated would generally be like crazy. Like that is a bit ridiculous. But one thing that is also important to mention is I love that this card mentions Scrap Synchron. So you really need Scrap Synchron for that. Like first of all, kind of tribute to like, yeah, the like Yusei deck in a way, right? That's how it used to be. But more importantly, Scrap Synchron becomes the overtake target, which is huge. So that you can even special summon out the Scrap Synchron to your field with overtake. These two cards kind of tie also now everything together, because I can literally well, that's at least kind of what I figured. But last time I also tried to like figure out the line, but the line didn't really form a circle, you know. It just, yeah, the circle was just not closed. But now it feels at least close, because what you can pretty much do is like you normal summon your full speed warrior. By normal summoning or special summoning this card out, you can either add the junk synchron or a spell trap that mentions like a junk warrior. And with that, we're gonna search Synchro Fellows. Synchro Fellows effect, we can add ourselves a junk synchron to our hand, but also a card that mentions junk warrior. Preferably you don't want to discard the junk synchron, and I will come to the point why you don't really want to discard the junk synchron. Well, probably it doesn't even matter as much, because I think you can get another junk synchron technically, but preferably, let's say you don't want to discard it. And with Synchro Fellows, the other target besides junk synchron that we add to our hand is the Scrap Synchron. Because Scrap Synchron can be used from like our hand to synchro summon like a warrior, like a synchro monster that also mentions like, that just mentions the synchron tuner, right, as material. We can use it with our full speed warrior that we have on our field established to synchro summon into Scrap Warrior. And with Scrap Warrior now, we can either search or send like a junk warrior monster or junk synchron. That's why I meant technically it doesn't really matter, because we can add another junk synchron as example with this card. But in this case, we don't really want to add junk synchron. I think we rather want to go for, it's probably smarter for go for another card that mentions junk warrior, right? Could add like the Anchor Bolt Hedgehog as example, or we could add the Roadrunner or any other of the cards. It just depends on what we need right now, right? With this now, what we have established is we have the Synchro monster on the field. The second effect of Synchro Fellows is life now. So with that, we can banish this card and then target the Synchro monster, reduce its level by 1. And then we get an additional normal summon for a Synchron monster. Now we can summon out the junk synchron. And well, guess what? Our Scrap Warrior that we targeted, right, is now level 2. So technically, already we have a 5 established, but junk synchron's effect is also gonna trigger. So we're gonna get our full speed warrior back with junk synchron's effect. And from here on out, you can do pretty much like anything. If you added or send as example like the Anchor Bolt Hedgehog, in this case we have to send it because Anchor Bolt Hedgehog can only special summon itself from the graveyard, right? We can just also additionally special summon out this Anchor Bolt Hedgehog, right? Because we control a monster that mentions Junk Warrior on the field. Or we could, special summon out the Roadrunner. Well, maybe this is a good point to also read the effect of Roadrunner. Pretty much, it's very simple. Roadrunner can just special summon itself out from the hand or graveyard when a tuner monster is sent to your graveyard. I think that is the most important part. The second effect is pretty much like it turns like all the monster that have 1900 or more attack of your opponent into defense position if you established, I guess, the first effect. And then if you control like a monster that mentions like Junk Warrior in its name, again, kind of the same thing as always. It's gonna do a second effect with the turning the opponent's monster into defense position, right? And for the rest of this turn, you were locked into Synchro Monster, but that's not really a lock in this type of deck, right? Depending on what you need, you can just, either like search or send the anchor bolt or like the crossroad runner or any of the other ones. And now everything just makes so much more sense now, because the anchor bolt hedgehog felt kind of weird because its effect only worked in the graveyard, right? So therefore you had to think like, okay, how the hell do you get like the anchor bolt hedgehog into the grave? I mean, yeah, I guess you can search it with Synchro Fellows too and then discard it, right? That is another option. Also, by the way, like this card, I think the last time I didn't even realize that, but like this card is like a 1-card speeder, which is kind of amazing. So most importantly, it's just like these 2 cards, especially these 2, just really make the deck work now the way kind of how it's supposed to. And that's why I felt like it was just really weird. Like a lot of things just didn't really make sense to me. A lot of these effects. One thing that which I'm still confused at is this effect here. Pretty much you special summon out all the level 2s from your graveyard, right? But the issue becomes now like, okay, how like their effects are negated, right, for the rest of this turn. I don't know how this is gonna interact with this card as example, because that is still something that kinda made me like confused. I felt that effect seemed a bit odd, at least of the Junk Warrior Extreme, why you would negate it. Because then, as example, you wouldn't also gain like the attack boost effect from like the full speed warrior, right? That was also something that confused me a bit, because as example, if you revive this card with Junk Synchro onto your field, right, the effect is negated. This effect kinda didn't make sense to me in a way. But I think probably now the effect of like, as example, if you have your Scrap Warrior established and then summon back the full speed warrior, I guess technically the effect won't be negated, right? But in this case, for the Junk Warrior like Extreme, I'm not sure. I don't think so, because it doesn't really say it negates it. It just says the effects cannot be activated. So yeah, I'm still confused on that part. A lot of people were disappointed as a start, because I think a lot of people just wanted like something that yeah, I guess prevents your Junk Speeder from getting negated and stuff like that, right? And I guess technically we didn't really got that, which might be disappointing for some of the people, but I'm sure that a lot of these cards here are still like upgrade to the regular like Synchron variant that I guess would be more viable. Some of these cards do solve a bit of the problem that, as example, if your Junk Speeder gets negated, right, that you don't really have follow-up plays anymore after that. But as example, the second effect of giving us additional normal summon of a Synchron monster, and important to note is it says Synchron monster on its Synchron tuner. So technically you could also, yeah, get like a non-tuner out if you really need it. But not only that, we have also now like the Scrap Synchron, which can be used from the hand to Synchro summon further. Important here to note is also that with this card you could also, I'm pretty sure you can, with this card you can also go into a Junk Speeder. So I mean, you're definitely still gonna play Junk Speeder, of course, because I mean the card is insane. Right now I can't really figure out the most optimal way, but at least now the whole like the whole lineup of cards just makes sense. Like all of the effects somewhat make sense. This effect here also didn't make as much sense to me, like with the defense thing. I understand that they wanted to go into the route of like, yeah, what original like Roadrunner does, right? Which is, I guess, kind of in a way cool. A nice little homage, but to be honest, they didn't really need it to do it. But the defense position did kind of confuse me, because to be honest, like what difference does it make if it's in defense or in attack? I mean, I do understand it was because of the Scrap Fist, because it turns the monster, I mean, well, it inflicts piercing like battle damage, like when you attack monster in defense. But I feel like it honestly doesn't really make like that much of a difference if it's in defense or in attack, you know. So yeah, honestly, overall, I'm just very excited. I mean, like, of course, I can't really speak like if these yeah, I mean, like, some of these cards, as example Scrap Synchron and like the Synchro Fellows, is, which is at the end of the day a 1-card speeder now, which is amazing. Like, he's definitely gonna help the deck, and I mean, like, the Scrap Warrior of course too, but yeah, I don't know for the other cards. I can't really say much about it. Probably a smarter person that plays a lot of Synchron can figure it out better than me. But I'm personally really excited for all of this support. Like, seeing all of these cards, like, generally all of them are good in my opinion. Best ones are for sure like the scrap cards and like the Synchro Fellow, of course. Like, the most happiest I am about out of all of these cards is definitely the Crossroad Runner, because I was always very sad that Road Runner was never playable, you know, like, at least from the other like very nostalgic card of Yusei, right? Like Quillbolt Hedgehog and the Speed Warrior. You could technically make an excuse to play them in your deck, but like Road Runner was that one card that you really couldn't make any excuses for to like play it in your deck. But now it's finally playable and I'm really happy about it. I personally always liked Road Runner a lot. I mean, it's one of Yusei's nostalgic cards, so yeah. I think Yusei even played it as probably like I mean, I think in the first episode it's even like his like second monster that he like summons out, I think, after probably Speed Warrior. But yeah, just a cool artwork, you know, like kind of like has Sonic vibes to it. I mean, well, it's literally called Sonic Chick in English. So yeah, it's amazing that Road Runner gets finally its use too. Also kind of sad about it that they never got like a higher print like the Road Runner. I mean, of course, I do understand why, because it was the more unplayable card of Yusei, but like still, you know, like season 1, you know, like Yusei used it quite often. I don't know how much he used it after that, but like still, to me it's very nostalgic card of Yusei. And yeah, therefore I'm just really happy about this card. But yeah, in general, I'm just really happy about each of these cards. And also really cool to see as example cards that at the start didn't seem as good as example Anchorbolt Hedgehog. And the Full Speed Warrior also didn't seem as good at the start, but now all of those cards kind of make sense. And I guess, yeah, personally, I am more excited to go a bit into a different route maybe. I feel like you can still play kinda like the deck in a similar fashion, but now you might have even like a good like way to go second. So yeah, I'm just extremely excited about it, and I can't really wait to make like a actual like Junk Warrior deck, because yeah, in the past I might have mentioned it in the first video, but in the past I tried to make a wild Junk Warrior deck where you can try to OTK your opponent, but with all the older cards it was not really possible. With these cards now, it might actually be like, I mean, it seems actually very possible. So yeah, I really can't also wait until, I mean, like when these cards finally hit Master Duel. So yeah, I really can't wait to like get all of these cards. I'm like to get the deck. I already pre-ordered it now. It's actually available for pre-order now, at least in my country. When the last card comes out, the trap card probably, I assume, I might do a reaction. I still don't know. At the start I just thought it's gonna be 5 or 6 cards, but yeah, amazing. Like all of the 7 cards I feel like are somewhat, I mean, like, well, some are definitely super viable and some are viable. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I think all of these cards are playable, which makes me personally like especially happy about these new support cards. So yeah, I guess that was it. Stay safe, guys. See ya.